Hey, what's going on everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Dreadlocks. I'm Gunther the Great, and today we're going to be looking at Lil Pump's dreadlocks again, just to clear up some stuff that you guys have commented down below and DM'd me on my Instagram. Speaking of Instagram, make sure to go follow the Instagram page. It is at Dreadlocks. Go show some love. We're at 3,530 followers right now, which is really awesome. I'm super stoked on that. That means so much to me. You guys have been showing mad love on this channel and on the Instagram. I appreciate all of the love and support you guys have been giving. And also, if you're from my actual main channel, if you guys notice I'm coming out my dreadlocks, thank you for all the support on that as well. If you haven't checked out those videos, go check them out. I'll probably link them down below. But you guys make sure to tag me on Instagram if you take a picture of your locks so that I can promo you on here. I've been promoting people here and there. I'm trying to get more into it like I always say, but let's go ahead and jump straight into Lil Pump's dreadlocks. The whole purpose of this video is to bring out why he cut his dreadlocks and why he reattaches them. I'm kind of in the same boat as you guys. I don't really know what he's trying to do, but he's doing something. I mean, if we zoom in and look at this picture, his dreadlocks look pretty cool, but one thing is that his bun doesn't look that long. But if you look at the dreadlocks in the front, they all look really long. Because realistically, if he had his hair in a ponytail, which his hair is in a ponytail, his hair would be hanging down just as far as that one that's in the back. But some of his dreadlocks are really long and some of them are really short. And the long ones actually were short at one point, but he cut some of his dreadlocks and then reattached them to the tips of those dreadlocks, which is really interesting. I've never really seen anybody do it. The closest person I've seen do this was Young Thug, which he shaved off his dreadlocks, he grew a little afro, and then he reattached his dreadlocks, and then his dreadlocks just looked, in my opinion, really messy, and you can tell that they were reattached. And with Lil Pumps, if you didn't know that he reattached them, you probably wouldn't know that he did reattach them. So someone did ask me why he put rubber bands in his hair. Most likely because he cuts his dreads and then he reattaches them. But one thing that he does is when he reattaches them, he reattaches them almost with like interlocks. It's almost like he literally cuts his dreadlocks and then turns that dreadlock into a dreadlock extension and then reattaches it as if it was a dreadlock extension, which essentially it is. I would not recommend purposefully cutting your dreadlock and then reattaching it, but say you did cut your dreadlocks, you can reattach your dreadlocks because we see it with Lil Pump. We see it with anybody who has dreadlock extensions. You can literally just attach hair to your actual dreadlocks with crochet needling and interlocking, or literally any method that you choose. I think crochet needling and interlocking is probably the two easiest ones, mostly crochet hooking. If you have a set of dreadlocks, it is super important to have your own crochet needle because you can use your crochet needle for literally almost anything with your dreads. But to answer the question on why he puts rubber bands on his dreadlocks, it looks like just to lock up the tips, most likely because he has wispy ends, and it looks like he just loops the hair at the end, and then I'm assuming he puts a rubber band on, and then maybe after that they'll do some crochet hooking. But you can see some of the dreads on the back or the side, they're still wispy and there's no rubber bands on them, but the ones with rubber bands are almost looped at the tips. So I don't know exactly what he's doing. Maybe he's putting a loop at the tip of the dread so that when he cuts his dreads, he can put the dread through that loop and then reattach it with crochet needling. So it's like an opposite dreadlock extension. But yeah, we recently seen Lil Pump doing this. I think it's been over a year since he started doing it, I'll tell you the truth, when he cut his dreadlocks and then reattached them. And it's always interesting seeing Lil Pump's dreads up close just because they look like they're just tied up. Like it looks like just a bunch of knots in his hair, which that's what dreadlocks are. But you can just see the interlocks present so easily in his dreadlocks. Like especially this picture, you can see all the interlocks going all the way up the length of his dread. But one thing that's really cool is that he maintains the roots really well. I'm assuming he does that with twisting with gel. I used to think that he did twisting with gel, which sometimes he used to actually do twisting with gel, but most of the time now he just does interlocking, which interlocking is like an instant locking method versus doing the twisting with gel and then allowing it to lock over time. With his hair texture, if your hair texture is like this, I would recommend doing interlocking because it instantly locks up the hair, especially if you don't really mind the interlocked look. But overall, to answer all the questions that you guys had, why does he put rubber bands at the tips of his dreads? It's just to lock up those loose ends at the tips. You can also do this at the roots of your dreadlocks. A lot of people don't recommend it because it can cause breakage, but in reality, I did it and it didn't really cause breakage. Just don't do it too tight. Know your limits when it comes to stuff like that. But in this picture, it just shows all of his interlocks. One thing to know about interlocking is that the dreadlocks will turn out more flatter. You can see that his dreadlocks are actually pretty flat, and that's expected, especially with interlocks. Now, the other question is, why is he cutting his dreadlocks and reinstalling them? Who knows? Maybe he wanted his hair to be longer and he didn't want to use anybody else's hair, so he decided to cut some off the side and then attach them to the top of his head. I believe he used to actually have a full head of dreads or either a taper all around, and then now he has a high top set of dreads, I believe so. Or no, he doesn't. He still has that taper going on. You can see that it drops pretty low right there. I just know that he did cut them and then reinstalled them. It's really interesting what he's going for. He brought up the dreads on the side. You can see that these are really low. Yeah, like his dreads were just like really dead from all that dye and stuff. You see how flimsy they are? But his hairline is always on point, which is really cool. You can see just how much more full the dreadlocks were right here versus when he bleached them completely, and they just looked so like wore out. Comparison from this to his hair super thick. We look back when he had his pink dreadlocks, they were crazy thick compared to how they are now. Just look at his dreadlocks right here. Like they were super, I could say healthy, and they looked really mature, not flimsy at all. And they just looked really good, and then he started bleaching them a lot, and then that's where you get his dreadlocks today. I mean, you can even just see right here how full his dreadlocks are right here. Kind of just comes with the territory of dyeing your dreadlocks all the time that they are going to become thin. You just have to really know that before going into it. Don't be surprised if your hair turns out really thin when it comes to bleaching your hair. But overall, when it comes to everything that Lil Pump has done with his hair, I've never seen people cut their dreads and reattach them besides Young Thug. And when it comes to rubber bands, you don't really see many people do that in public. They kind of just do it, you know, at night or when they're maintaining their hair. But I do know that he did this at the beginning stages of his dreads with the rubber bands. But you guys, that's a very simple video on Lil Pump. Hopefully you guys did enjoy it. Hopefully it was informal. If you guys have cut and reattached your dreadlocks, let me know in the comment section down below. If you plan on doing it, comment down below as well. Because there's probably a lot of people out there who have cut their dreads and saved their dreads, and they have enough length on their hair to actually reinstall them. So I think it'd actually be cool to actually try it out. That is all for this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, give it a thumbs up. And then I'll see you guys next time. Peace.